ladies and gentlemen, this is Cynthia, the Audio Belle, and I am here with Totsi. Totsi was on one of my previous segments, and she just wanted to come on and say hello again. All right, Totsi. So at Axpona 2019, I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of people, and I had the opportunity to interview Jerred Dunkerson, CEO of Black Ice Audio, formerly known as Jolida. I also got to talk to Michael Allen some, and he's the president of Black Ice Audio, Jolida. So one thing that I really like about Black Ice Audio is that they make such affordable components, and yet they are high quality tube components. So I have their CD transport DAC. I also have their JD92 phono preamplifier. And my friend just purchased their stereo amplifier, their 1000P. And he also purchased their F159 phono preamp, which is now Black Ice Audio component. So they started out in 1983 as a vacuum tube company, manufacturing vacuum tubes under the name Jolida. And then they started oozing into the high-end audio market, started making integrated amplifiers and other components, and they had been working with Jim Fosgate for a while. But recently, they just teamed up with Jim Fosgate to come up with a whole new product line, which is one of the reasons why they're rebranding from Jolida to Black Ice Audio. Their new product line and their new company is Black Ice Audio. So Jim Fosgate helped with the circuitry, and one thing that's really cool about my friend's phono preamp that he got, the F159, is there's a little window where you can look in at the tube. And then if you look down at the board, you can see where Jim Fosgate had soldered his signature into the board. I thought that was a cool feature. So I had a lot of questions for Jerred, and I'm going to let him speak for himself now.
I think, when we start looking at products, and you ask me who's my direct competitors. If I had a customer on the phone and say, hey, do you compare this to, say, Primo? I tell them no, I don't compare. That's their gear, this is my gear. If you put everything on the test equipment, everything's good, everything reads right. But they do have different signature sounds. But as an end user, it's really up to you to decide what do you like. What's your personal preference? Do you like this brand, this type of sound, or do you like this brand? So for me to say, hey, my chickens are the best, I don't do that, because for someone, my sound might be exactly what they're looking for, but for someone else, it's not what they're looking for. So,
at the end of the day, it's about listening and picking what you like.
And the equipment is going to sell itself. If especially at a show like this, when you can walk around and see all these different brands and hear all the different equipment, you get to choose. I like this. It's okay. It's not my cup of tea, but it's still good. Mm-hmm. But it's not what touches me. And I think as a consumer, when you're looking to buy a product, you definitely want to buy something that's going to last 10 to 15 years. Why are you going to buy a product that you buy it maybe just based on looks, you never heard it, you have it for less than a year, and all of a sudden you're selling it for half the cost because it's used? I think you should, a customer needs to buy a product, especially after hearing it, or driving it, or tasting it, through all our senses. But it's really that product, that's going to sell itself. Say, hey, I belong with you. This is what I like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, you pair products with certain products that sound good together. Mm-hmm. So I know that you guys sell through dealers rather than through direct means via your website. Why do you do that, and are there advantages to doing that?
Well, a couple reasons, all positive. Just like the show, you get to come to an audio show, you get to hear the products. That's the same thing with the dealer. If I was just online sales, you go to my website, e-commerce, you click a few things, you pay with your credit card, it ships out. You never heard it. You don't know what to expect. But if that product is in a dealership, you get to drive it, you get to hear it, you get to touch it. You get to find out, is this my product? Is this product going to make me feel good every time I come home? I've had a hard day, at work. I turn on my stereo system, and all of a sudden, how was the term? Dimensional travel. Where I'm no longer thinking about my day at work. I'm totally, I've totally gone to this dimension. Like, what's going on here? I'm listening to this music. I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking about maybe the first time I heard the song, or maybe this concert I went to, or this song was playing when I was out with my wife at our first date. It's one of those things. So I really think the music or the equipment sitting in a dealership, you get to hear it, you get to touch it, you get to see how it fits into a rack, things of those sort. That's a bonus. That's a plus to having the product in a dealer. Customer gets to see it. They're going to decide, is this product talking to me or not? I'm kind of rambling on here. I'd say another positive is not only as a manufacturer, but I have someone out there supporting me. Say, hey, this product's good. Come listen to it. There's different technologies out there, but here's a tube product. Take a listen to it. You can't do that online.
It's not personal.
Is that?
It's not personal.
Yeah, online is not personal. You go to a store, it's personal. You get to talk to somebody. You get to see their view, or what they think is maybe a better product that would fit them. Because they're the professional. If you're not feeling comfortable with biasing tubes, then you shouldn't probably buy a tube amp. You should talk to the dealer. The dealer's going to show you something that's solid state. Nothing wrong with the solid state, but it's easy to use. So there you be.
So why tubes for you guys rather than solid state?
Tubes? We've always made tubes. Here's a little story. Back in the early 90s, actually since 1980 something, it was 85 when Jolida started, which is actually the two moms' name, Joe and Lita. Jolida was a tube distributor, and late 80s, early 90s, kind of story goes, they received a grant to design and produce a power transformer for this company. And what they designed and what they went through, they realized to meet these expectations or requirements for this company, for this product, it's not possible. And so the company said, okay, no problem, so it can't be done. The rest of the money that's in the grant, you keep it. Okay, great, they have something to start with. What they did come up with was a perfect power transformer for audio, for amplifiers. And the story goes, Hanson, who's the original designer, engineer behind Jolida, and his cousin Mike Allen. Mike didn't want to build amplifiers. He wanted to continue just distributing. Hanson wanted to build amplifiers. And that's kind of how it took off, And I think 1993 was the first Jolida product, the 302B. I believe it won 1 or 2 awards that first year at Innovative Show or Innovative Product. I'm trying to think what the name of the show was. That was a while ago, but yeah, right off the bat, they were winning awards.
Yeah, and I was surprised on your website, on the About Me section, how you talked about how the transformer is the most important aspect, which it's kind of edgy because with two products you have to have the transformer. It transforms the high voltage to low voltage current, but if you don't have a good transformer, that can make or break.
That is true. Yeah,
your product.
Say, in terms of all the products, especially the high-end products, when you're trying to get that high-end sound, the heart is the power transformer, which you need low noise. You need, a consistent supply of current. Those are key things. I would say, the biggest enemy to high-end audio or audio in general is noise. If you're trying to get into the music, all the little details, this and that, and you got a bunch of big buzzes going on in the background, you're not going to hear all those little noises. You're not going to hear the little sounds that only most of the time a high-end system is going to reproduce. you know, compared to like something off the shelf from, you know, a Best Buy or something. Is you just don't get the resolution, you don't get the detail, you don't get the weight, you don't get the dynamics that you would find in a high-end product. And if you listen to a lot of the lower cost products, you pick up a lot of the noise, you know, whereas you get into the higher end stuff, and you probably have heard, you know, walking around, you've heard songs that, oh my gosh, I didn't hear that. Mm-hmm. Where was that? I've heard this song so many times, but I hear it on this system. Like, was that always in the music? Believe it or not, it's always been in the music. Just noise being the biggest enemy. You just don't hear it because of the noise.
It doesn't get picked up.
Exactly. There's a lot of interference going on. Yep. But let me go back to the question before, why tubes? And it might totally sound biased, but I feel tubes, compared to the other technologies out there, they're just so natural and organic. I really believe that they give you more of a live presentation than some of the other technologies out there. And that's, plus, they're cool to look at.
They are cool to look at.
And, you know, there's a few other good positives behind it. So.
But I agree, they image so well, and I like tubes. I love tubes. That's why I buy your products. So.
Oh, thank you.
So, as far as like attracting young people to high-end audio, how are you guys going about doing that?
Well, that was part of, you know, I think with every company, that's one of the big questions, one of the unanswered. How do we reach the young people? Because most of the time with high-end audio, it would be, you know, today it would be the older folks. They've grown up with a high-end audio system, and it's passed on down to, you know, to the family members, to their, you know, their offspring. And they get, you know, they grew up with it, they know it, and they get it. And they continue to buy the high-end audio. Whereas there's a mass amount of population that have no idea that high-end audio even exists. And what we were trying to achieve in our designs, you know, to attract the younger crowd, is not only the great sound. I mean, you put an iPod up against this, I'm sorry, you can't hold a glass of water, you know.
Right.
And that's with any high-end product. But we wanted, you know, to reach the millennials through the user interface. Okay, everyone that's young has a cell phone. It's all touch sensor. So we incorporated that into the products. The integrated amplifiers, the faceplate is glass and it's a touch sensor, just like your cell phone. You just get up and touch it.
Thank you so much for coming on my video.
Thank you.